So welcome back. Here we have our next very special guest, Scott Thornbury. Welcome. Good to have you here, Scott.
Thank you, Norbert. It's nice to be here.
Thank you. Scott is a teacher trainer, author, and a series editor of the Cambridge Handbooks for English Language Teachers. Am I right?
That's right. Mm-hmm.
And that's what you're involved in now, editing this series for Cambridge University Press. But first we're going to talk about your plenary session so people can be updated on what you're going to talk about from 6 p.m. till 7 p.m. tonight. And the talk is going to be it's getting better all the time. That's the title. Can you give us a bit more of that? What does it
Yes, really it's a talk that I've chosen to fit in with the conference theme about inspiring teachers and inspirational teachers, and it's I guess it's an upbeat motivational talk in the face of a educational climate which is in fact is the very opposite. It's getting worse all the time. I mean, I'm speaking from the perspective of where I live in Spain, where because of government cuts and everything, the teachers' jobs have been really threatened and in a sense, kind of belittled. I mean, for example, they're packing more students into the classrooms. This is in the state schools, and they're saying to the teachers, it doesn't matter, 35, 40, what's the difference kind of thing, as if, it's kind of like factory feet, farming kind of thing, that it doesn't, there seems to be no sort of sense of either educational principles or how important the teacher is in the equation. You look at countries, on the other hand, which really value teachers, like Finland, for example, where they select them very carefully, they train them very carefully, they pay them a lot of money, you get fantastic results. But they don't seem to be, they're not doing the math in Spain. I mean, I don't think Spain's the only country in the world which, where teachers are feeling undervalued, underpaid, depressed, etc. So what I'm talking about, I guess, is trying to, how we can counter that as a profession in our own field, in English language teaching, which of course is very diverse because there's the private sector, there's the public sector, there's university, there's primary, etc. So it's not like it's all, but there are things that we can do as teachers, as individuals, to take some kind of control over our own situation. And just give us without wanting to give too much away.
Yeah, just one. Just one.
I think one of the things that we can do is join what we can do now, which we couldn't do so easily when I first started teaching, is we can join a kind of global community of other teachers and talk to each other and compare our situations and talk, and not just simply moan and complain to the people around our own local staff room, but do things using the resources that are available through social networking, etc. So I think that's a huge plus and something that is not something I've thought of clearly. I mean, it's a theme that's been running through a number of talks in this conference. In fact, what's been very interesting is how other speakers have been picking up on this theme about inspiration and motivation, etc., and more or less saying very similar things.
Okay, I know that you've moved into a partly or totally new area of teaching, which is online teaching. What inspired you to do this huge leap from face-to-face teaching to online teaching? You're teaching on an online MA course for the New School in New York. Why?
Well, it's first of all, let's qualify that it's not online teaching of language, of English, it's online teacher training.
Online teacher training, okay.
But it's still online. I mean, and it's not in real time, it's asynchronous teacher education in a sense. So in some ways, it's not a huge leap from face-to-face teacher training. And I do face-to-face teacher training in the summer in New York. So I'm teaching the same course essentially in two modes. One is online and one is face-to-face. So that's kind of interesting to be able to compare how it feels and also the effectiveness of it. I think I got involved because it's the way things are going. I mean, there's so much more now that's being offered online, and for many teachers who are working and want to pursue some form of in-service teacher development, whether it's an MA or a diploma or whatever, this seems to be a very practicable, affordable, although it's not necessarily that much cheaper than face-to-face teacher training, but certainly very practicable and much more popular, and people are just much more used to it. You don't, I mean, I've really noticed that in the 4, 5, 6, how many years I've been doing it, we used to have to spend a lot of time training people how to do discussions, you know, online forums, and how to post things and how to upload images and all that. I'm noticing that I have to do a lot less of that now, that people are much more literate in terms of that digital literacy, in terms of online learning. So it seems to be kind of, it's almost, I'm not saying it's the default mode, but certainly if you're a university or training organization, you can't offer an online component. People will be saying, well, you know, what's wrong with you? So I mean, so that's partly it, was just to do what, to have the experience of doing what is becoming more and more the norm. And I really enjoy it. I'm surprised how much I do enjoy it, and how much communication that you are capable of doing, and how much communication you can create between the students on the course, even though they are, you know, diversely spread. And
how did you feel, Scott, before you started this online teaching thingy? I mean, were you anxious, excited? How would you?
I was skeptical, let's say. And I still am skeptical about some aspects of online teaching. I mean, I'm not entirely 100% convinced that you could learn a language solely online. I mean, I know that now with Skype and, you know, all the different kind of tools which can put students in direct contact with each other and with their teachers, that it's becoming increasingly possible to create the kinds of interactive situations for which classrooms are very good. Classrooms were traditionally used to deliver content. Now, content can be delivered quite satisfactorily using technical means. Classrooms still seem to be the best place in the world for people to actually use language, apart from out in the street. But I have to admit that the technology is moving very fast, and it's creating the means, I think, where students can actually use language in ways which are as near as, damn it, authentic, real life, whatever. And in fact, in a sense, are more authentic for many students, because maybe the only way they ever will use English is through online communication. So why not learn it online?
Talking about the pros and cons of online teaching, which one do you think is the biggest argument against online teaching?
Motivation, possibly, because I mean, one of the things that is quite hard when you're working is like any kind of distance learning. If you're doing it on your own, you've got to be fairly well motivated to maintain, to persevere in isolation, and so that's what you have to do as an online instructor. Is you have to spend a little bit of time and regularly forging a kind of online community, so people feel that there's something, they are part of a community, and they are motivated even for just social reasons. So they know these other people are scattered around the world. They know what they look like. They know their interests and that kind of thing. So that's important. So I think that would be. But I mean, I still do find that the keeping students participating in these discussions is harder, much harder than it is in a real classroom.
Okay.
But you know, you learn techniques and tricks.
I'm also skeptical. I'm thinking of moving into the area of online teaching as well, but I'm hesitant.
Well, don't try it.
I've talked to, I think, Michael Carrier about this as well. So I'm not on very good terms with technology as such, using in my classroom. But I've decided to make a change. But talking to you, yeah, that's something which I highly value in teaching. So building up a community of students in the classroom. Absolutely. And I'm afraid that something would be lost, you know, just moving online.
I mean, I would say do it. I would do it for two reasons. One, because the reason that I've said that it's kind of the mode now. It's becoming almost the default method of providing educational opportunities. But also because, as I'll be talking about tonight, again, not to give too much away, it's like by doing things differently, by setting yourself these challenges, you'll discover, even if you only do it for a little while, you'll discover things that actually you'll like about, things you won't like, and things that you'll carry back to real classrooms that will actually change the way that you teach face to face.
So they might kind of complement each other, or go hand in hand.
Yeah.
That's a relief.
Good luck.
And finally, could you tell our viewers and me as well about your IATEFL-Hungary experiences in Eger? What do you think of the city? What do you think of the conference?
The city's very beautiful. I've hardly seen any of it yet. I arrived yesterday afternoon, and I've been in the conference most of the time, so I'm hoping to kind of slip out maybe sometime this afternoon and tomorrow morning. It's the first time back in Hungary for something like nearly 20 years, to my shame. and I've never been outside of Budapest before, so that's really exciting. And I was there, last time I was here was the dead of winter, so this is this beautiful sunny autumnal weather.
Yeah, 24 degrees we have.
I know, it's amazing. It's as hot as it is in Barcelona at the moment, so well done.
Just one piece of information to make you and everyone else happy in the studio, that I've just checked the blog, the EGER Online blog, and since Monday we've had almost 2,000 visitors.
Fantastic.
So 1,800, 1,900, and still going up. And I think we can share your plenary materials. And
yes,
we have already shared your workshop materials on the blog.
Yeah.
So if you want to use any of his ideas or just want to read them, come and visit our blog. It's egeronline.wordpress.com. And you can watch the interviews with all the speakers, all the interviewees, and of course the rowing reports as well. So Scott, thank you again for coming. And I really look forward to meeting you in the session.
I'll see you there, Norbert.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot.